Alright guys, so today we'll be doing the N62 reliability video. And I figured that was a good starting video for the first video of this car. That's going to be one that a lot of people are going to want to see. And then we'll go on from there to do probably the recall stuff. And we'll do the PCV system. Touch on a little bit of everything on this car. But for now, let's get the hood open and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so the very first thing, probably the first and the worst, is the valve stem seals, which, let's be honest, this car probably has that problem. We're gonna go and check the PCV system anyway, and just to make sure. So the valve stem seals, if you don't know, you take the valve cover off, you have a special tool, you pressurize the cylinder, it holds the valve up so you can replace the little rubber stem. You have to take the valve spring off and all that kind of stuff. The average cost of repair for that's about $3,500 at a shop. I think we could do it for, I don't know, about $100 in parts, somewhere around there. The next one is PCV rupture, which is these things right here. They have a little diaphragm in there, the orange diaphragm, and it gets a rip in it. PCV hose failure. All right, so on this one, this hose right here, this gets split. It doesn't pull vacuum to the PCV system. I think even if the vacuum line gets ripped off on either side here, that could also cause that. And this other one, the hose is right here. That goes over to that. And then after that, we have oil leaks. So we're going to start on the oil leaks. First of all, valve cover oil leaks, oil pan gasket, front and rear main, timing chain upper gaskets, timing chain cover gaskets, I should say. All that's common oil leaks on the N62. Now, also the alternator bracket gasket, which I hear is really difficult to get to, where the alternator bolts to the engine, it feeds oil through that, and it has an O-ring in there. And people say that is also a $3,500 job at a shop. Don't know. Haven't got to mess with that. Hopefully I'll never have to. You never know. Here's a big one, coolant leaks. Rear coolant cover. There's a cover on the back of the engine. Coolant reservoir and associated hoses. Reservoir's right here. I do know for a fact these caps also get broken on the bottom and leak. These little associated hoses, which are all zip tied on, and she has a connector in here to connect that up. Those are all common leak points. Let me see, leaking from weep hole and water pump. So the water pump's on the front on this one. When the seal goes bad in it, leaks in the weep hole on that. So wasp flying around me. And that's pretty much, I guess, mostly, the coolant through pipes, the transfer pipes that go from the water pump over to the back. Those like to leak. There's O-rings and those that leak. They make different kits. Now you could actually replace that without taking the intake manifold off. They make an extendable little deal. So let me see here. Keep losing my place. Another big one, and this car probably has this issue, is the Valvetronic motors, which are right here, and right here. And it is throwing error codes for those. I'll go ahead and try to relearn them, but it's not looking good. The issue with those are, you have to buy legit name brand ones, and they're like $250 a piece. So that's not good. Luckily, I have the software to relearn those real easy, but you know, I don't know. If you replace them, you also have to relearn those too. One thing I did not put on my list here, you also still have all the associated power steering leaks. You have potential rack and pinion leaks at the side seal, and associated rack or power steering hoses and reservoir issues. Let me see here. I already covered the PCV system. Stopped up EGR ports. Oh man, that's another huge one. So you can't see it from this angle. You can barely see one of the hoses back there. This has EGR ports that go into the rear of the cylinder heads. It goes all the way through. Well, they get carboned up. It makes the car idle rough and run rough. They make like looks like a real long pipe cleaner thing. You could feed around the back and clean those out. I hear that works some of the time it don't. You pretty much have to remove the engine to do that. And that'll keep throwing check engine light for rough idle. I don't remember what all the codes were, check engine for that. That's another pretty bad problem on these. Let me see here. Secondary air pump failure, timing chain tensioner. The timing chain tensioner that tensions the timing chain, they go bad. A lot of times you could hear it. If you change it early enough, you could save the engine. There's a lot of stuff to look for on these. The vacuum pump failure causing the brake booster to fill with oil. E90 has that. All these 60s have that. It's not really particular to this car. But it's not very common. I think it's more common on this engine than it is on the 6-cylinder stuff. And just to run down through it, was it 6 HP 24 or 25 in this car, the automatic transmission. And just like any other ZF transmission, common issues are the mechatronic sleeves. That's not as common if you change the oil all the time. Bad solenoids in the transmission, broken D-drum. Like I said, if you change the fluid in these ZF boxes, you don't really ever have an issue with that. The guys that never changed it, this car's probably never been changed, are susceptible to that. The mechatronic sleeves are about $100 for just a little rubber sleeves. You have to take the transmission pan off. You have to take the valve body out to change them. It's not that hard of a job, but you really got to watch out what you're doing so you don't do anything wrong. The bad solenoids are always to do because of never changing the fluid or putting the wrong fluid in it. Yeah, I mean, that's the reliability on this N62. It is a staggering list. N62 is known to make big power, but also be highly, highly unreliable. And this one actually isn't that bad a shape for the miles. Is like 140K on it. We're gonna get some small things fixed up for her and get it sent back to her coming up here. Hopefully you guys appreciate this. There's probably 50 more things on here that I haven't covered. That's the main gist of them. Not to mention the car itself. The electronics nightmare on the chassis itself is unbelievable. They can be good cars. For you guys on there saying you have no problems with their E60 ever, either you have no mileage on it or you bought it after somebody's fixed it all, because that is not the case on these whatsoever. Okay, so I'll give you a couple updates here. What else is going on? E39, doing the Vanos. They just did the Vanos solenoids, doing the valve cover gasket now. Here's an interesting fact. This is 03. This car has the bolt-in coil packs, not the push-in coil packs. Supposedly the engine was changed, and apparently they changed also the harness, I guess. Who really knows, to be honest. Okay. All right, and the last update's the shop update. We got all the windows in, even the second story windows. Got this guy in. Had some rain this morning, got some water pooled against the baseboard. That's all right. We got all the rafters done and in, all that crap done. And we also this morning did the ladders on the outside for the overhang. Ladders for the overhang on the outside. All this is all coming off. That's all getting replaced. We're gonna green board that face of that. We're putting on the fascia board right now, 2x8. Whoops, 2x8 instead of 2x6. And after doing all that, we found out that the building, the ridge beam was had a little wave to it. So to put back on our little strong, what do they call them? I don't remember. The legs on it, basically. We racked it back a little bit, straightened it all out. And we're hoping when we put all the green board on it, that it's gonna turn out. It's gonna hold all that correct. It was like an inch off. Here's a green board. This is what almost $2,000 worth of green board looks like. It's 100 sheets. Well, we bought this and screws and everything else. There's a lot of money either way. So that's updates on the shop. That's updates on the E39. Hope you guys like the N62 reliability video. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. We'll see you later.